Om Yam dhyayanti buddha samadhi samaye Shuddham yat sannibham Nityanandamayam prasannamamalam Sarveshwaram nirgunam Vyakta vyaktaparam prapancharahitam Dhyanayika gamyam vibhum Tam samsara vinasha hetumajaram Vande harim muktidam. Adorations, namaskar to the Supreme Lord, the destroyer of all worldliness and bestower of salvation, the undecaying and infinite being, the one who is attainable through meditation alone, who is free from illusion and beyond the manifest and the unmanifest, the one who is of the form of bliss eternal, who is gracious, taintless, and without any attributes, who is the overlord, the one who is pure and limitless like the ether, and who is contemplated in samadhi by the wise. We offer our humble salutations to the Lord, Sri Hari. May He bestow His grace upon us all. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us continue with our study of 17th chapter, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. Last time, we are doing shloka number 12. Three kinds of yajna are being described in the shlokas 11, 12, and 13. As we studied last time, yajna can be a specific ritual, usually Vedic ritual, or in general, as we studied in the 3rd chapter, any activity done as offering yajna is also yajna. Anything at all that we do can be done and should be done as yajna. In the 3rd chapter, which deals with yajna, at 2 levels, all the time, round the clock, yajna is happening in whole of nature, everywhere, and also at the individual level. In each one of us, in our bodies, in our minds, yajna is happening. And in the whole of nature, yajna is happening. For the instruction for seekers of God is to perform all actions as yajna. Niyata karma, required duties, anything that we do. Excepting, of course, nishiddha karma, bad actions, immoral, illegal actions, we should not do at all. Other than that, any action that we do should be done as yajna. That instruction was given to us in chapter 3, shloka number 9. There, Bhagavan Shri Krishna had said, Yajnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Loka means this world, that means people. These instructions are meant for human beings, seekers of knowledge, seekers of devotion. For people seeking knowledge, devotion, God realization, the instruction is all actions must be done as yajna. Anything that is not done as yajna, Yajnarthat anyatra, other than as yajna. If any work is done, karma bandhanaha, we become bound by such action. We become bound means we are bound by the result. If you perform any action, not as yajna, but as with attachment to karma, karma phala, expecting some selfish benefit to gain something, not as an offering, then that is binding. Binding means we continue in the cycle of karma, karma phala, desire, and birth after birth. So the instruction is tasmad asaktas tatatam karyam karma samachara. Asakta means without being attached to karma and karma phala both. We are required to perform all actions. Now, when we perform all actions or try to perform all actions as yajna, there can be three different possible attitudes that we have been studying in the 17th chapter. Three gunas. Each one of us is bound by the three gunas that we know from chapter 2 and chapter 14. Sri Krishna said, everybody is bound by three gunas. It will come again in the 18th chapter. There is nothing in nature that is free from the three gunas. So some examples were given. Three kinds of food that is studied: satvika ahara, rajasika ahara, tamasika ahara. Now, any action that we do can also be sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. If two people perform the same action, one may do it in a sattvic way, another may do it in a rajasic way, same action. It depends upon the frame of mind of the doer. The rajasic person does all actions in a rajasic way with desiring fruit of action, with some selfish motive, rajasic action. A sattvic person does the same action in a sattvic way. That means not expecting anything in return, out of love, joy, gratitude, and offering everything to God or to society, any larger cause. Whatever you do should be offered. Sri Krishna Bhagavan gives his instruction in many places in the Gita. Whatever you do, offer it to me. That is Sattvic Yajna. Now we are going to study the Rajasic Yajna. Sattvic Yajna we studied last time, sloka number 11. Sattvic Yajna means apala kangshibiri yajnyo vididrishto ya ijjate yashtavyameveti manaha samadhaya sa sattvikaha. Sattvic Yajna is apala kangshibhi. Phala kangsha means desire for a fruit of action. I'm doing this benefit must come to me. That desire for fruit of action. The result will come anyhow, whether we desire it or not. All actions produce some fruit. But we should not be attached to it, and we should remain equanimous in success and failure, and do all our actions as offering, as worship, as seva, service. That is Sattvic Yajna. Apala Kangshibihi, by those who do not seek result of actions for themselves. Vididrishtaha, as explained, as prescribed in the scriptures. Vidhi means procedure. In the last chapter, chapter number 16, the last sloka has this important instruction, where Bhagavan said, whenever you have to decide whether some karma is to be done or not, karyam akaryam, in making such a decision, karya akarya vestitau, how do we make such a decision? What is the basis for our decision making to do something or not? Shastram te pramanam, 16:24, last chapter 16, sloka 24, last sloka. Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya vyavastitau. So Bhagavan says, in deciding what to do or not to do, whether to do something or not, May Shastra be your source of instruction. 6 scriptures that we studied last time. Then how we should do according to procedure prescribed in the scriptures. Vididrishta. So in the second line of last shloka, 1624, Bhagavan says, Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartumiharhasi. Shastra Vidhanoktam, as prescribed in the Shastra, scriptures. Jnatva, knowing that one, ascertaining the procedure given in the scriptures and how to do a certain action. Karma kartumiha arhasi. Iha means in this life, in this world, you perform all your duties. So here, the sattvic person does just that. Vididrishtaha. According to the procedure prescribed in the scriptures, a person does his or her actions, sattvic action, sattvic yajna. Rajasic people, tamasic people, they do the same thing, but in their own way. They don't care for the procedure, ascertain what is the right way to do. They just do as they please. That will come later. Yashtavya meveti manaha samadhaya. This work has to be done. This is yajna, this work, with this frame of mind, with the determination that this work is required to be done, is appropriate as ascertained from the scriptures, and it will be done according to the procedure prescribed in the scriptures. Thinking like that, saha sattvikaha, such a yajna is sattvic yajna. Now, Rajasic people do the same action, but in a different way. We'll see. Rajasic action, shloka number 12. Abhisandhayata phalam dambharthamapi chaivayat ijjate bharata shrestha tam yajnam vidhi rajasam. Rajasic yajna is being described here. Shloka number 12. Phalam abhisandhaya. Expecting fruit of action. Otherwise, phalam anabhisandhaya, without expecting fruit of action, sattvic. Rajasic person does the same action but expects benefit. I'm doing this, I must get this much outcome, this benefit for me. The selfish motive is there. Selfishness is there. All actions must be done in an unselfish way. That was the instruction. This person has a selfish motive in it. Phalam abhisandhaya. Then secondly, dambharthamapi. Damba means show, ostentation. Making a lot of noise and seeking visibility. People should notice that I am doing this work. Seeking attention, the reward. That is Rajasic frame of mind. Dambharthamapi, for show. Ijjate bharata shrestha. That kind of yajna which is done, O Arjuna, tam yajnam vidhi rajasam, know that to be Rajasic yajna. We should not do that. Instead, what we should do, we should not expect any selfish benefit from our actions. Once action is done, and it is to be offered to God, to divine, or to society, or to some larger cause, not for myself, in a larger cause. May this work benefit all and everybody, including animals, plants, and nature. Not just for myself. That is sattvic attitude. We should do like that one. And not expecting selfish benefit from it, not expecting appreciation, not making a big show that I'm doing this work, everybody should notice and appreciate me, like that one. This is Rajasic. Tijjate bharata shrestha tam yajnam vidhi rajasam. Now let us see what the tamasic person does. Shloka number 13. Vidihinam asrishtannam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parichakshate. Everything opposite. Vidihinam. Vidhi means procedure prescribed in the scriptures, as we saw before. Vidihinam means without following scriptural procedure. Anyway, a person likes, he does his or her own way, not following the proper instructions. See, with for every action, there is a set of instructions. Instruction manual, procedure manual is given. In workplace, we have standard operating procedures. To do everything, this has been done in this way. Company policy, government policy, whatever. You have to follow that one. This tamasic person does not follow. Does work in his or own way, whatever way he likes. Vivekananda, without following proper procedure as required in the scriptures. Asrishtanam, without serving food, in which no food is offered. Any yajna that we do, we should offer food to those who have assembled, and to animals and plants too, not only people. Offering food is an important part of all yajna. Even when you do Gita class, this Gita yajna we are doing, this is yajna, food has to be offered at the end of the class. Because those who have come, who comes in the form of the people to attend the class? The Lord himself. So offering food is a part of any yajna. Asrishtanam. The tamasic person does not do that one. Mantrahinam adakshinam. Mantrahinam means without chanting proper mantras in the proper way. All yajna has to be done by chanting the Vedic mantras as prescribed in the scriptures and in the proper way. Mantra has to be chanted properly with proper pronunciation. If you don't pronounce word properly, they carry different meaning. So we should make sure that our pronunciation is correct as prescribed in the scriptures. That whole science of pronunciation is called shiksha. There's a branch of sub-branch of yoga, Veda called shiksha. Shiksha means how to pronounce the sound. Those who know grammar and linguistics, I have not studied those things in detail. They say all the sounds that we hear, that we say, came from only 14 sutras that Shiva created at the time of the dance of creation. Drityavasane Nataraja Rajo Nanadatakam Dashavargavaram, no, not Dashavarga. Drityavasane Nataraja Rajo Nanadatakam, 14 times. Maheshwara Sutra, 14 times. He makes with the damru, he sounds. So that those 14 sounds that he made, they are called Maheshwara Sutrani, the sound of primordial sound that Shiva created. But those sounds form the basis of all language. So like this, there are detailed instructions on how to pronounce shiksha. At least we should know properly how to pronounce. We don't have to all study the details of all those shiksha, all those things, not necessary for spiritual seekers. Ascertaining proper way to pronounce the mantras in any language. Mantrahinam, without doing that one. Adakshinam. Dakshina means offering some money to the people present there. Whenever any yajna is done, some offering has to be made. Without offering, if you do yajna, it is not complete. I can share a personal incident in this connection. I said this in the Wednesday class also. Swami Asheshanji Maharaj, Holy Mother disciple, he was in Portland. I had the good fortune of seeing him several times, spending some time with him. Once he came to Ganges Monastery in Michigan, where I was staying at that time. It was a huge special occasion in August 1987. 20 Swamis had gathered from all over the place, from overseas, and about 700, 800 people had gathered. Big celebration. And a part of the celebration was to perform a yajna, Ramakrishna Yajna, Ramakrishna Homa was to be done. So Asheshanji Maharaj was going to do the Yajna, senior most Swami, Holy Mother disciple. So he, of all the people, chose me to help him. I was a young person, not only young, ignorant, didn't know anything. So I was there. So he asked me to say, it was a great honor. I became nervous and also very happy and joyful, but a little bit afraid also. The great Swami, if I make some mistake, he was known to scold people. So I assembled all the material and everything for Yajna according to the book. The Yajna Paddhati, Puja Paddhati book has did all of the everything preparation I made, and the time came to start the Yajna, and he was doing the main offering. And he asked me to sit down next to him, and he asked me to help him. I provided whatever has to be offered next according to the Puja Paddhati, and chanted some mantras. Yajna was concluding. At that time, the last step in the Yajna, he asked me for this Upayanadana. There's a procedure called Upayanadana, means offering dakshina in a plate. We have to put some rice and a betel nut, tambulam, coconut, and a coin. Coin has to be, money has to be in the form of coin, not bills. That I had not done. That I had forgotten. So then he asked, where is it? So then he became nervous, quickly assembled all those things and produced the plate. Then he offered it. Then he said, at the end of Yajna, this has to be offered. So nicely he said, quietly. So adakshina means without offering coin, money, Yajna is not complete. It has to be done. Adakshinam, vidihinam, asrishtanam, mantrahinam, adakshinam. Then saddha virahitam, without earnestness and faith and devotion. Not only Yajna, anything that we do, every step that we take, every breath we take, every word we say, must be done in the proper way. The proper way to eat, the proper way to breathe, the proper way to sit down, and proper way to move about. Without earnestness, haphazardly, just to get it out of the way somehow, without getting involved in it nicely, joyfully, with gratitude, everything has to be done. Without that, somehow get it out of the way, and I have done that one. Saddha virahita, without earnestness and faith. Such yajna is called tamasam parichakshate, tamasic yajna. So 5 things you have to remember when you do any work, yajna or any work. What are they? Vidihinam, proper follow procedures. But the way to do everything, you have to ascertain it and do it that way. Asrishtanam, when yajna is done, offering puja, anything is done, you have to offer some food. Mantrahinam, you should chant the mantra properly, ascertain proper mantra. You should learn how to chant it and chant it properly. Adakshinam, you should give some dakshina, offering to be done. 5th one is Shraddha Virakitam. Without Shraddha, we should not do. Shraddha means with earnestness, with faith, with joy, with devotion, with gratitude. Everything that we do, small or big. If you don't do these 5 things, then you are doing a tamasic yajna. Not good for anything. So that is tamasic yajna. So sattvic yajna, rajasic yajna, tamasic yajna is these 3 you have studied that one. In the next 3 shlokas, 3 kinds of tapas are being described. In the 17th chapter, 3 kinds of food, 3 kinds of yajna, 3 kinds of ahara, 3 kinds of tapas. All these are being described. Now we are going to study 3 kinds of tapas. So these are according to the 3 instruments we have. 3 karana. All our life, whatever we do, from birth until the last moment, we do with the help of 3 instruments. Only 3 instruments or 3 karana. Karana means instrument to do everything. not the external instruments like the computer and other instruments, cooking in utensils and electric toaster, etc. Those are instruments, other numerous kinds of instruments, depending on what we do, not them. But our inherent three instruments granted to us by God. What are the three instruments we have? Mind, the instrument of thinking. Everything starts in the mind. All actions start in the mind. That instrument has to be in good condition. If the mind is not in good condition, God help us. Second instrument is instrument of speech. Very, very important instrument. Every word I say has an impact on myself and other people, on the environment too. I can vitiate the environment by saying wrong things, or I can purify the environment by saying good things. See how powerful speech is. Our whole life depends upon our speech. Other people judge us by what we say. Speech, important instrument. Third instrument is sense organs, body, bodily action that we do. Thinking, speaking, bodily action. These are three karana means three instruments. All these three instruments are required to be in good condition for me to do a decent, good, successful, peaceful, decent life. If one of them is not working properly, then it will be a problem. We don't dwell on that too much. So how to keep these three very precious instruments God has given us to lead this life in proper condition? How to use them, for what purpose and how? Those are being described in the next three shlokas. Shloka number 14 describes austerity disciplines to keep the body in good condition, physical part of our body. Then second shloka number 15 describes the austerities to be done for keeping the speech in good condition. How we should speak, what we should speak. Third shloka number 16 describes how to keep the mind in good condition. Most important. If the mind is not working properly, nothing works properly. So let us study these slokas very nicely in detail. Shloka number 14. Three kinds of shariram tapaha. Devadvijaguru prajna pujanam sauchamarjavam brahmacharya mahimsa cha shariram tapa uchyate. Five instruments, five instructions on how to keep the body, sharira, in good condition, how to use it. Similarly, five instruments on how to keep the speech in good condition. Similarly, five more instruments to keep the mind in good. Total 15 instructions are given. 5 for body, 5 for speech, 5 for the mind. All this you have to carefully observe, study and observe. So let us go to sloka number 14. Shariram tapaha. Sharira means the body. Why the body is called sharira? Body has other names too. Deha, also called body. Why it is called sharira particularly? Because like everything else in nature, all bodies disintegrate in time. Anything that is made up, composed of more than one thing, two things or more things put together, such an entity disintegrates in course of time. Only pure consciousness remains unaffected, infinite, eternal, attributeless, that remains. Accepting that everything else in nature disintegrates, big and small. The sun also disintegrates, star, galaxy also disintegrates and merges into the black hole. Atoms also disintegrate. People, animals, plants, whole of nature disintegrates. That's what body is called shariram. Shiryate iti shariram. Now, what are the disciplines for keeping body in good condition? First one, Deva Dvijaguru Prajna Pujanam. Deva means God. all the deities, God with form. Dvija means twice born. You will explain, understand the meaning of twice born. Dvija means those who have gone through the ceremony to be initiated into Brahmacharya ashrama. Then Guru means teacher. Acharya, teacher, Guru. Prajna means a wise person with a lot of experience in life and wisdom. Everything such a person does is a model for other people to follow, big and small. Prajna. Pujanam, we have to worship them. Worship them means not only ritualistic worship, but we have to follow their instructions, emulate them in everything we do. How a wise person does, we have to follow such a wise person. This instruction comes in many places in the Gita. For example, in the second chapter, sloka number 54, Arjuna asks a very important question. Arjuna asks Krishna, what are the qualities of a Sthita Prajna? Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava. Oh Arjuna, oh Bhagavan Sri Krishna, what are the signs, qualities of Sthita Prajna? So that we can emulate and ourselves become a Sthita Prajna. So that instruction is given. You have to follow the instruction on the qualities, emulate the qualities of a Sthita Prajna. Similarly, 12th chapter, qualities of a Bhakta, we have to follow those things to become a Bhakta, like that. So, Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujana means not only ritualistic worship, but studying their characteristic, their life, how they led their lives, how they did all their actions, and we're doing our action or leading our life in the same way, emulating as much as possible. That is the meaning of Pujanam, not only ritualistic worship. So first thing is Deva Pujanam. We have to, as you saw before, we owe 5 debts of gratitude, Pancharana. First of them is Devarana. You should worship God every day to express our devotion, enhance our devotion to reach God eventually, and also to offer gratitude for the greatest gift God has already given to us. What is the gift you already have received from God? Human birth and human qualities. Manushyatvam. That's what sloka from Vivekananda, many of you know. 3 things are very rare to accrue, not come by for a person, for a being. What are they? Manushyatvam, mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshrayaha. All these things have been given to us. Manushyatvam. Other than as human being, if you are born as some other being, what can we do as an animal? Nothing. Simply working out the karma, no new thing can be done. God realization possible only by a human being. No other being can realize God, only human being. So human birth is the most precious gift. So we have to worship God to express our gratitude and to enhance our devotion to God and to reach God. Deva Pujanam. Different kinds of worship are there. We are not going to details. Ritualistic worship and doing all karma as worship. Different kinds of worship are there. Prathama Pratima Puja. Ritualistic worship, worshipping the image of a deity. Rama or Krishna, Shiva, Sri Ram Krishna. We can keep a photo or a picture or a yantra. Sri Vidya people use a yantra diagram for worshipping, invoking divine presence in it, like that one. Japastotradi Madhyama. Another kind of worship is to chant devotional hymns, stotra, and doing japa, the repetition of mantra or God's name. Then Uttama Manasi Puja. Manasi Puja means doing all the offering mentally. It requires concentration. There are hymns on how to do that one. Shankaracharya's famous hymn Shiva Manasi Puja is there. And then another kind of worship is Soham Pujottamottama. I am He. In usual kind of worship, separation there between God and the worshipper. I'm the worshipper, God is the worshipped. That separation is there. At the highest level, there is no separation. The I merges into the He and only He remains. So Shivo, that's too high. It's not easy for ordinary people to follow that one. And Swami Vivekananda popularized another fifth kind of worship, which was already in the scriptures before. Bhagavatam, it was there. That kind of worship, Swamiji says, is serving any other being, needy person, or any being, seeing God, presence of God in that being is the highest kind of worship. Swamiji wrote a nice poem called The Living God. Swami Atmanganji gave a Sunday talk on that poem some time ago. The living God means, which God are you worshipping? You can worship a photo, or you can worship an image, or a yantra, or a saligramma, or shivalinga. Why not worship God in the living form, vibrant living form, in the form of beings? Highest kind of worship. Seeing God in the people or beings, serving them is the highest kind of worship. Swamiji emphasize that one. So Deva Puja means all these kinds of worship, anything that appropriate for it. Everybody cannot do everything. Not necessary. We choose one kind of worship. Deva Pujanam. Then Dvija. Dvija means twice born. So who is a Dvija? Janmana jate shudraha. Karmana bhavati Dvijaha. Karma means a ritual. Usually, a ritual is done when a boy is 8 or 9 years old. It's called Brahmopadesham or Upanayanam. That means investing the boy with a sacred thread and initiating the boy into Gayatri Mantra. So that person, formally, the child becomes Brahmacharya Ashrama from that day onwards, chanting Gayatri Mantra. Brahmacharya means total celibacy, only students, only knowledge, no being a student, no other activity during that time. Such a person has been initiated into mantra, Gayatri Mantra, or any mantra, spiritual life, is called a Dvija. Second, twice born. First birth is when we are born in this body. The second birth is being born into spiritual life. Such a person who is born to spiritual life, Deva Dvija, worshipping them. Veda Pateba Ved Vipraha. Vipra also means another stage of Brahmana who has studied the Vedas. So who is a Brahmana? Brahma Janati Brahmana, one who knows Brahman. You'll come to that topic later. Who is a Brahmana? Deva Dvija, Guru, teacher, plays a very important role in our life. Not only our teachers, spiritual teachers who give us mantra initiation, anybody who teaches even one letter is a teacher. Not only people, whole nature is our teacher. See, in the Bhagavata, there is a nice section called Avadhuta Gita. There, the Avadhuta had 24 teachers. All were non-human teachers. From every side, nature is teaching us every moment, 24 hours. What we should do, what we should not do. We don't understand. We are not receiving. We are not grasping nature's lecture. Only when another human being comes and tells us, then we can understand. But a perceptive person can learn whole of Vedanta by observing nature. Avadhuta story comes in the Bhagavata Mahapurana. So there, for example, how can we learn a lesson from trees? Here we are discussing Guru. Who is a Guru? Not only the person who teaches us ABCD in the preschool and high school, college, etc. Not only a spiritual teacher, anything in nature that teaches something is a Guru. The tree standing outside, so many trees are standing there. We see the same tree every day, nothing happens. We just ignore a tree standing there. We don't pay attention. But it is telling us, teaching us an important thing. A tree is telling us one lesson of forbearance, titisha. Tarora pesa gishnuta, forbearance. A tree stands there 24 hours in rain and shine, in winter and summer, fall and spring, bearing everything. Snow, very too much heat, too cold, whatever happens, it remains there calmly, nicely, providing the most essential thing for human life to subsist on this planet, oxygen. We don't recognize the contribution of plants to our human life. Without plants, people cannot live on this planet. Animals cannot live. But we still ignore that one. It's teaching us forbearance. So, Guru here means worshipping everybody, all who has given even one idea, one good thought. If somebody has given me, is a teacher. Worshipping teacher is a very important part of daily life. It is extolled in the Upanishads and Gita also. In the Upanishad, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a very nice section in the Shikshavalli, first part. There, a Gurukulam teacher gives final instructions to a group of departing students who graduated, finished their studies in the Gurukulam. These children used to stay as a part of the Guru's family for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 18 years. And then they would finish the studies and go and lead their own lives. At that time, to a group of departing students, the teacher gives the instruction. Very important instructions. There, the teacher gives several instructions. One of them is worshipping the teacher. Acharyaya priyam dhanamahritya prajatantam mavyavatsetsi. To the Acharya, who has given us the instructions, we have to offer Guru Dakshina money. Priyam dhanam ahritya. Then you have to lead our lives. Worship the teacher, as God himself comes in the form of teacher. Then in the same instructions, the Rishi says, Acharya Devo Bhava. And their instructions are many are given there. Among them, Satyam Mada, Dharmam Chara, Swadhyaya Anma Pramadaha, Acharya Matridevo Bhava, Pitridevo Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava, Achiti Deva Bhava, like this. So worshipping the teacher very important. Devadvija Guru, Guru, Prajna. And it's Gita also 434, chapter 4. When we see a Guru, we have to do three things. What are they? Pranidhana, Seva, and Pariprashna. Pranipata means Sashtang Pranam we have to do to a Guru. 8 parts of the body touching the floor. What does it mean? Total humility and surrender to the will of the Guru. Keeping the ego aside. Being receptive to the Guru's teachers with humility and devotion. That's Pranipata. Tadvide Pranipatena Pariprashna. Pariprashna means inquiring into the nature of reality from every part, every angle. Pariprashna from every side, every aspect of a subject you have to inquire. The teacher says something, we should not ever and say, oh, I have understood everything. No, you have to examine the subject from every angle, from every perspective. Thoroughly we have to study, asking relevant questions. With humility, we should not question the teacher with any other motive. With humility, just to know the truth. Third thing we have to do, sevaya. You have to perform seva, service to the teacher with humility and devotion. By doing only service, one can gain knowledge. That we know from the lives of great sages like Swami Adbhutananda and Totakacharya and Shankara disciple. Service. They were not great scholars. Other students were scholars, but they were only serving the teacher with great humility and devotion. Service means, seva means doing some service which is required before being told. Another student is, even if you tell him, he does not do it, maybe do it tomorrow. Average student does it when he told, but this student does before being told. Like Shankaracharya's disciple Totaka, before Shankara expressed a need for anything, if you wanted a glass of water or something, before Shankara said, he would be there present with a glass of water. It's true seva. So that is Guru, Prajna, Guru Pujanam, Deva, Dvija, Guru. Prajna means a person who has wisdom acquired. Himsa Guru Prajna Pujanam. He has not explained what Prajna here in the Shankara's commentary. Guruvascha Prajnascha Guru Prajna Tesham. Yeah, Prajna means he's translated as it's a person, wise scholars, he says. Those who have deep knowledge. That was
wisdom. Is it wisdom, Swamiji?
Prajna means wisdom. Those who are wise people, those have wisdom.
Right, wisdom.
There is nothing more mentioned in the commentary there. Prajna means wise people. Now here, before we leave this topic, that's the first instruction, worshipping all these people. Dvija means, as we said, one who is initiated into Gayatri Mantra has started his spiritual life in right earnest, second born. Brahmana means one who has known Brahman. Who is a Brahmana? This question has been answered in different ways in different scriptures in the Mahabharata and Bhagavatam and other places. One definition of a Brahmana that comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is very interesting. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a nice segment containing conversation between the great sage Yajnavalkya and a great lady saint Gargi. Last Wednesday, I misspoke and said Maitreyi, Gargi. Gargi and Yajnavalkya Samvada, very interesting part in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There, among other things, this is what Yajnavalkya says to Gargi, who is a Brahmana. There he says, Yova etadaksharam Gargi aviditva yasmalokat praiti sakripanaha. Who is not a Brahmana, is described there. Yaha, that person who Asmalokat Preti leaves this world, that means dies, spends his whole lifetime, etadaksharam aviditva, not knowing Brahman. Akshara means Aksharam Brahma Paramam, chapter 8. We studied that one. Without knowing God or acquiring Brahma Jnana, if a person spends his or her whole lifetime and leaves this world, such a person has not achieved the goal of human life, wasted the human life, precious gift. Such a person is called a Kripana. Kripana means a miserable person, wretched person, wasted precious lifetime. And who is a Brahmana? Ya eva etadaksharam gargi viditva tasmalokat praiti sabrahmanaha. Yajnavalkya says to Gargi. That person who leaves this world, asmalokat praiti, departs from this world, etadaksharam viditva, knowing Brahman, having acquired Brahmajnana or pure devotion also. We can add, it's not in the Upanishad, but pure devotion. Then if a person leaves the body, that person has fulfilled the purpose of human birth, not wasted his precious birth, gift of human birth. Such a person is a Brahmana. A Brahmana is not necessarily one who is born in a Brahmana family, but this person has to achieve God realization. Then only is called a Brahmana, or no, Brahmajanati Brahmana. So such a person, if you worship, what happens? You acquire those qualities. We obtain their grace, acquire those qualities, and we also reach the same goal of God realization or Brahmajnana. That is one. All this is one instruction for the body. Devadvaju Guru Prajna Pujanam Shaucham. Oh, Shaucham is second one, purity. Purity means external purity here. Internal purity will come later. Purity of the mind will come in the later sloka. Here, purity of the body, speech also will come later. Purity of the body and environment, possessions. Body must be kept clean, and environment, place where we stay, our possessions, property, room, car and everything, kitchen, everything, bathroom must be cleaned properly. That is very necessary for spiritual life. That is shaucham. Shaucham, pujanam, shaucham. Second. Third one is arjavam. This has come before. Arjavam means straightforwardness, transparent personality. That means what a person thinks in the mind must be same as what that person says in speech, must be same as what a person does in action. All the three karanas, instruments must be harmonized, must be same. Thinking something and saying something else to please other people nicely and doing something entirely different is crookedness. Should never be done by a spiritual, especially by anybody in general, especially for seekers of God, spiritual seekers. Straightforwardness, transparent personality, thought, speech, and action must all be same. Sri Ramakrishna was very particular about this one. If he said he will do something, that he will have to do that one. Once he went to see Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and they had a nice conversation. And during the conversation, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar said, I will come and visit you in Dakshineshwar. And he didn't follow that up for whatever reason. Sri Ramakrishna said, this Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar is a great scholar, philanthropist, educationist. He didn't keep his word. He himself, Sri Ramakrishna himself, had to keep his word at any cost. Once he said that he will go to Jodha Malik's house one day. You remember that one? For some reason, he could not go that day. But he remembered at the end of the day, I told I will go to Jodha Malik's house. I have not gone. It's already midnight. Before the day ends, I must go. So at midnight, he went to Jodha Malik's house property and put one foot in that property and technically fulfilled the, although that is not the right way, but at least technically, that means we should follow in action what we say in words, and what we say in words, when words must be same as what we think in our mind, thought. That is arjavam. Devadvajugur prajna pujanam, shaucham, arjavam. Two more things are there. All these are shariram tapaha. Brahmacharyam. Importance of brahmacharya cannot be exaggerated, cannot be overstated. Very, very important. Purity of thought, brahmacharya is thought, word, and speech. The rules of brahmacharya celibacy are very strict for unmarried people. For married people, those rules are different. Swami Yatishwanji Maharaj, his lectures are compiled and published in a very well-known book, Meditation and Spiritual Life. Many of you know that book. There one big chapter is there. Swamiji wrote big chapter on brahmacharya. There has given instructions on how unmarried people should follow brahmacharya, absolute strict continence. Married people have a different set of rules. He has explained those things. So brahmacharya is very important. How important it is, because brahmacharya gives the special power of ojas. Person becomes extremely powerful by observing absolute continence. So one instance, you all know that one. When Swami Vivekananda came to this country in 1893 to participate in the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago, he was a young man. He had never spoken in public. And he was asked to give a talk in the Parliament. 7,000 people, somebody had assembled, so many people had assembled. Swamiji had never given a public talk. He had no notes, no preparation, nothing. And he had never spoke. So when his turn came, he stood up without any notes or no preparation, nothing. But he began his speech. As you know, with this address, Sisters and Brothers of America. This is how he began his speech. Immediately, the thousands of people all stood up and gave standing ovation for a long period of time. That's all he said, Sisters and Brothers of America. The power, those words carried the power. Anybody can say Sisters and Brothers, I can also say, but it will make any impact. But the same word Swamiji spoke, how could it produce such a big impact? 6,000-7,000 people standing ovation. They had never heard him speak, he had never spoken in public. What was the power behind those words? Brahmacharya. In the whole life of Swamiji, not one impure thought entered his mind. Power of Brahmacharya. That power is manifest in every word, every action such a person does. Ojas. So Brahmacharya for spiritual seekers is very important. For everybody is very important. All this promiscuity that we see around in society, that's why society is in such a poor shape. No regard for truthfulness or purity, nothing. So Brahmacharya, same thing, Hanuman. The Hanuman had so much power, so much strength. Alone he flew, he crossed the ocean flying. From where did he get that power to cross the huge ocean in one jump? Hanuman. Purity, Brahmacharya, absolutely Brahmacharya he followed. And devotion to Rama. Devotion gave him the strength. Like this, Brahmacharya is very important. That is fourth one. Last one is Ahimsa. Ahimsa has come before, it will come again. Ahimsa means non-injury. Not causing injury by thought, word, and deed. Not only physical violence. By thought also, by speech also, we should not cause violence. Our words have power to affect other people. So if I say a harsh word to somebody, that person will feel hurt, embarrassed. He may also become angry. So my speech must be saumya, gentle and truthful and pleasing to hear. That will come in the next sloka. So ahimsa by thought, word, and deed. Very important discipline. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, first step is yama. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama that you are studying with Swamiji Monday evenings. The first step, yama, consists of 5 disciplines. First one is ahimsa. Ahimsa, satyam, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. These 5 are very important rules for everybody, not only for spiritual seeker. Anybody, a person following any path, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, whatever yoga you are following, Swami Sri Ramakrishna, for even people doing business, these disciplines are very important. So Patanjali says, Eti sarvabhum mahavrataha desha kala samaya avichinna. They are not affected by time, place, environment. In every place, in every country, in every century, every time, by everybody, these 5 things have to be followed. Sarvabhauma means of universal relevance and universal acceptance, relevance, eternal relevance. They never go out of fashion. Truth and ahimsa, ahimsa, satya, asteya, etc. So that is the 5th discipline. So far you have seen in sloka number 14. See how many things are there. The sloka has a lot of information packed in it. Likewise, the 2 more slokas coming. So first sloka number 14 describes 5 disciplines pertaining to the physical part of our personality. 5 more in the next sloka, 5 more in the following sloka for the speech and for the mind. We'll study them next time. So just to conclude sloka number 14, Devad Vijaguru Prajna Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsacha Shariram Tapa Vicchate. Each one of them is very important for everybody in general, especially for seekers of God. Those who want to devotion to God, knowledge of Brahman. These 5 disciplines are very important. Shariram tapaha. Then comes in the 15th slokam, Vangmayam tapaha. For speech, 5 more disciplines are given. Satyam comes there, truthfulness comes there. And in next sloka, 5 more disciplines for mind, manasam tapaha. Or study all those, not only studying, we have to carefully observe, follow these instructions as much as possible in your daily life. These are very important. Practical, there is no philosophy theory here. All practical instructions that we have to do, we can do. Everybody can do, can have to do. Without these instructions, these disciplines, spiritual life is not possible. So we shall stop here and I shall say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from ill health and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble, dharmic and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of suffering. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, we shall see you next week.
Maharaj.